The biggest reason why you are not profitable is that you keep changing and tweaking your system. Every single one of you here decide to yourself that you want a specific win rate. You want a 60% win rate. You want a 1 to 3 risk reward. You want a 1 to 5 risk reward. And you never let the system tell you what's best for you. And what do I mean by that? Every single one of you, I can guarantee, when you come to the market, and if you look at your journal right now over the trades that you have collected, not a single one of them will look the same. You may have a criteria, but you keep tweaking it every single day and every trade. If you go through your data right now, you will be confused yourself. It is very, very, very easy to contaminate your data. You should have a fixed criteria, and you should stick to that criteria over 100 trade sample size and let that tell you what your statistics are. If you want a high win rate, don't try to optimize for it when you are building a system. You're never going to become profitable like that. And trust me, I think this is a big issue that many people don't talk about. I'll tell you right now, I haven't heard many people talk about this at all. So this is some absolute sauce. I remember, for me, I didn't know what the issue was. I was going through my data and I couldn't find the issue. But then when I realized that my data is not even making sense, it's not even clean, right? I have all of these different models that I'm trading, a reversal model, a continuation model. And I thought to myself, I'm doing all of this on the same account. Although it's the same strategy, but it's different ways of trading. Now, me personally, I like to have a higher win rate. But the problem is, if I try to optimize for a higher win rate, if I look at my data and say, oh, my win rate right now is 40%. I don't want a 40% win rate. I want a 60% win rate. You should just quit trading. Genuinely, because you're never going to become profitable like that. You need to let the market and your system tell you what your edge is. You need to go through, have your fixed criteria, trade it every single day. And then at the end of that 100 trade sample size, if the system tells you that your win rate is 50%, that's when you can decide, okay, let me tweak some things. Let me add some variables. Let me remove some variables. But you can't do that if you're still testing things. It's like you're doing a scientific experiment and you just start to add variables and remove variables whilst in between the experiment. That's going to mess up the whole experiment. When you do an experiment, you have a hypothesis. You have a hypothesis, you have your outcome that you want, and you test it out. You don't just do, okay, let me add this, let me remove this, let me add this, and then you worry and you wonder why the outcome hasn't come how you want it to. It's common sense. And the thing is, the more you kind of reflect trading and compare it to science, the more easier it is, because it's very similar. Very, very similar. When you have a mechanical model, it's easier because you have a fixed criteria. And even if you're discretionary, how many times has it happened? Think for yourself. How many times has it happened when you look back at your trade, or when the trade that you've taken, and you say to yourself, oh, this might be a valid trade. Oh, I think this trade makes sense. If the word makes sense is in your vocabulary as a trader, the door is there, get out. Get out. Because what do you mean makes sense? You should know instantly whether a trade is valid or not. That's what's messing you up. That is exactly what's messing you up. When you build a system, literally write down your criteria. Write down your criteria. Inducement, build up, inducement, mitigation, whatever your criteria is. And literally stick to that until you finish 100 trade sample size. And then that can be your fixed statistics. Don't just look at your win rate and your risk reward and say, oh, my risk reward is 1 to 3, or my win rate is like 40%. Oh no, that's my win rate. That's not your win rate, my brother. That's not your win rate, because you don't have 100 trade sample size of the same thing every trade. If you have that, then you can say that's your win rate, but that is not your win rate. You're still in the middle of testing. And the thing is, the only way I was able to learn this is by switching to a mechanical system, because I think I'd still be in that loop if I was trading discretionary, because there's just too many variables, bro. I don't like discretionary trading. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but I just don't like it because it's harder to follow. So what you need to do is have a criteria, stick to it, do 100 trade sample size, let that tell you what your statistics are, and then tweak things. If you do that, man, the progress becomes much, much, much more faster. It feels slow, it feels boring, but that's part of the testing process. It's supposed to be like that. But once that's done, the results will speak for themselves. And that's how you build systems. You don't build systems by following your mentor and then tweaking things every other trade. Now, you are doing that subconsciously. You may not know that, but you're doing that. Go through your previous 10 trades and then go back to the previous 10 trades before that and compare them, and you will see that they are not the same, and that's your problem. That's what I wanted to say here. And follow my Instagram, my Telegram, and peace.